What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Down to Business podcast. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, we appreciate you joining our episode today. We are talking today with my good friend Chris Hollis, Topher. Inside joke, everybody, but Chris Topher, and he is the operations manager at Pure Marketing, which is the owner and the key holder to this podcast, the Down to Business podcast. If you guys don't know, we started the podcast a couple years ago. We do this podcast to help business owners, future business owners, or people who work for business owners in the areas of business, finance, marketing, and a lot of things in between. We have weekly episodes where we just have discussions and dialogues with guests who range from, like we just had someone on who's a world-class speaker and strategist, literally with 500,000 followers on social media.
Mr. David Waldy.
Mr. David Waldy, absolutely a treat. Dude, my mind hurts every time I get done talking to him.
It makes you think about the things that you don't usually think about.
It makes you think about the things in your soul, so it makes it hurt.
Yeah.
Which is awesome at the same time.
The challenging questions. Yeah.
So, and then, Chris has been with me now, I guess 3 years now, Chris, right?
Yeah, it's
2.5, 3?
2.5.
Yeah. And Chris and I have known each other a long time. But today we wanted to talk about, well, first off, let's do a stock market update.
Oh, man.
I already know it. I already looked.
You already got it? Okay.
Yes. Stock market had the worst drop in 2 years, 2 days ago. Today it's up a little bit, but I called my financial advisor yesterday.
I'm sure his phone is exploding.
He said he's expecting the S&P to drop another 400 points before it hits the bottom and bear. And so that would put it at about a 30 to 32% reduction from the high 3 months ago.
What do you do right now, right? Because when the economy is good, you go in stocks. Yeah. When it's bad, you do bonds. But you can't do bonds when inflation is up.
Bonds stink.
So it's like,
if you have any extra money underneath the pillows, you put it in stocks because you're getting at a huge discount right now. But there were some that were overvalued. So the reason why this stock market decrease is happening for the majority, obviously inflation, recession fears, all that. But a lot of the companies that are Target dropped 26% in one day yesterday.
Yeah.
Walmart was 13%. These things should never happen.
It's because of the price of gas.
Everything goes up. The price of gas. Well, what they're saying is the supply chain. And can you Target 25% stock dropping today? I remember back in the day when 2 or 3% was huge.
2 or 3% is huge for a multi-billion-dollar company.
So, anyways, what's happening is they're overvalued. So, Shopify has dropped I think it was at $680 a share. I think it's down to $380. That's half. It was overvalued. It's not that the stock dropped in half. Netflix has had a massive reduction, overvalued stock. So some of it, the pullback is overvalued stocks from the pandemic, inflation money.
There's always a correction.
This is a massive correction. The other is going back to what do we do? Some of them are just super undervalued, like Carnival Cruise Lines, $18 a share.
Because they couldn't operate.
They couldn't operate, and they're in massive debt because they had to take all these loans out. But Carnival's not going. One of the cruise ships will probably go bankrupt.
Yeah, they'll make it up as long as they can start sailing again.
But its stock high was $65 a share.
Right.
So you're telling me it's 80% discount right now? Probably, if you have $100, probably worth putting it in.
It's another Camping World, man.
Dude, don't start with me. Camping World's at $27 a share when it was down to $4 a share.
It went up to $43 a share?
43, and I
didn't invest.
I didn't do it. I hate myself for that.
I'll never forget that.
I know. But I'd be on Bora Bora right now. I'm not doing this. But no, so the stock market's crazy. But if you do have some extra cash, it's not willing to lose it, so to speak. You don't need it to live on. If you have literally a couple $100, a couple $1,000, this is a great time.
Yeah. If it's just sitting in a savings account somewhere.
If it's just sitting there now. I talked to a multimillionaire the other day who knows the housing market fairly well, and he expects there to be a pretty steep recession next year. So he says we're at the ground zero of the fire burning, and so. Well,
I don't think it would be a 2008.
This is not business advice, everyone. Yeah. Disclaimer.
I don't see that being a 2008 recession though, because it's not. The problem in 2008 was basically you could get insured for basically any loan you wanted. And so people were buying properties that they couldn't actually afford.
Zero.
And then when it actually did correct, people had to pay all those mortgages and then nobody could afford to live in them.
Yes.
So nobody could cover their rent.
Yeah.
So if you owned the houses and you rented 6 houses, you had to pay 5 other mortgages.
Yeah.
But then you couldn't sell it because there was a recession because, and nobody wanted to buy it. So everybody was hosed.
Anyways, getting back to our subject, stock market, it's in a weird place. If you have some money, invest. If you don't, then don't do that.
Then don't
do that.
Don't invest if you don't have money.
Don't be nervous, or don't play with the money you have saved for your like kids' graduation or something.
Don't borrow money to invest money.
But going to our subject today, I want to talk to Chris about, Chris has been doing marketing 2.5 years now officially, with Trifecta and then with Pure. And we have had a lot of people reach out through Pure and Trifecta over the last several weeks. Me and Logan were just talking about this, over 24 probably in total with leads and stuff. And a lot of the conversations, people know they need marketing now. Like I remember, like I said, my parents owned a business for 34 years. Like marketing was not something they even talked about. Right. And they had a $1 million business. So good for them. But people, you listeners are waking up to understanding marketing and marketing 101, so to speak. The nuts and bolts of, I need to be branded. I need to have a good logo. I need to be present. I need to have a website, all the basic stuff with that, which is a great start, by the way. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today is staying at that organic guerrilla marketing level for some time before you jump to paid and heavy investment. And so, Chris, you've had some interesting conversations the last few weeks with guys who've called and they're like, I'm ready to spend money. Yeah. And your response is what to some of those?
Not yet.
Why?
Do a lot of them. So there's a lot of things that you can do that don't cost you much to anything in marketing, right? And a lot of that is like when we think about marketing, we're often considering many things. We're like when we say marketing, we're thinking advertising. Sometimes we say advertising, we're really saying marketing. Yeah. Sometimes we say marketing, we're really talking about branding. Sometimes we're talking about reputation and we're saying marketing. Like we kind of just like gather it all under one banner, and it's either usually advertising or marketing. Right. And those are different. And so when it comes to branding, like, yeah, you do need to invest in your brand. Yeah. Like you need to have an aesthetic, you need to have a face to your company. And it doesn't need to be a picture of you in your Facebook profile picture for the first 2 years of your business. Right. But when we're talking about marketing, we're talking about the strategy on how and why we're going to advertise the way we do. Advertising is the method that we use to market the company. That's right. So that can be a billboard. It can be social media. It can be Google ads. It can be multiple things. It can
be pamphlets. Yeah.
Right. But there's a bunch of things that you can do to market yourself that don't necessarily cost you money. So for instance, if you're starting day one, you don't need to pay anybody anything. No. The first thing you need to do is get on your phone and just text your friends and family and anybody that you have any kind of relationship with and just be like, hey,
Facebook friends, whatever.
Yeah, I just started a carpentry business. If there's anything I can do for you, I'd love to help.
And if people who don't believe this, I was on Facebook the other day and somebody posted on like one of those for sale wanted groups. This is a true story. I'm dead serious. Somebody posted like, I'm in the business now, car detailing. I just started this. 48 comments. Yeah. People wanting to support this. It was a random person. It was not like, even a logo on. It was a guy who was like, hey, my name's Gerald and I'm starting a detailing business. My detailing packages are these 3. I would love to serve you as I try to grow my business to help my family.
Yeah. Let's say
48 comments.
Let's say half of those.
And that's random people.
Yeah.
So what about your friends list?
Right. Let's say half of those convert.
I was blown away.
Say half of those convert and your bottom line is your starter package is $100. You made $2,400 off a Facebook post.
Crazy. Yeah. And imagine if you were consistent with that. And now you've got, 75% of them are going to be really happy. So now you've got returning customers off a Facebook post. Right. And that is what's so cool about the guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla meaning, guys, is just like boots on the ground, like nose to the ground, working hard at it. Just hard work marketing, not being super smart or super strategic. Right. When I started Trifecta, I worked at a church and I was doing it only on Fridays. And I printed out these like pieces of paper and I went to the copy room and like got free copies.
You used the church's stuff.
I totally did. And then I had that cutting board. What's that called?
Yeah. Yes. Cutting board.
Okay. Just called the cutting board. Anyway, so I cut them all by hand and all that stuff. Next thing you know, I got like 500 of them. And I just went to a few neighborhoods and I just like put them on their mailboxes. Yeah. And I got like 15 calls from them. Yeah. And I remember one neighborhood, it was in Blythewood actually. Blythewood's not too close to where I was out of. It's guys listening. And I got like 4 houses in that neighborhood at first. So all it did was it took me an hour, to walk around the neighborhood, and it was so easy.
Yeah.
And so.
And that moves the door hangers.
Yeah, they move into door hangers, and then you go to Spiderweb Marketing, you text all your friends and family, then your mom shares it for you, and then your cousin, and the next thing you know, people are supporting you. But guys listening, girls listening, you don't need to, when you're launching a business, we kind of tell people until you get to that $150,000 revenue mark, you don't really even need to consider paid marketing, meaning like Google ads. Website, you definitely need to get the second you open your business, but you can do one on Squarespace and again, Squarespace is not super professional SEO driven, but you just need a starting point.
Right. You're telling $30 a month versus a $3,500 investment.
And probably 2 nights out of your time.
Yeah.
You can watch a YouTube video. And yes, it's weird. We're a marketing company. We want you to do a website with us. I know it's, wait a second, you guys unselling yourself? That might
a little bit, but
that might be a good title for this. But what we're trying to do is be honest and saying there's so much misinformation out there. When you get to, we met with a guy the other day, okay, and he had some money set aside for it. He had budgeted specifically, like he told us, and if I recall, we told him you don't need to spend money on social media marketing with us, but you should build a website with us.
He was just getting started. He was doing forestry, right?
Yeah, but he's in a high-end, it's a high-end skill. So instead of doing a cheap website, people are going to be spending your ticket item number is going to be pretty high.
Right.
So that's another piece, guys. If you're doing a high ticket item business where you're selling a service that's 4 digits and up rather than $100.
Right.
Then you probably should have a website that reflects what you're asking of people.
Right.
And that's what they told us, you know? And so there's nuances to that. So for anyone listening who's in a cleaning service, one of those services where your ticket item's $50 to $120, don't think you have to go crazy on the expensive website right off the gate. Yeah. Just go get a landing page, go do this, go do that. Then once you get some momentum, you start putting 10% of your revenue into a savings account for future marketing costs. Because we talk about this a lot, but I was talking about this to, I think them, is when you are in let me use this example with Logan, who's in the room over here. Logan, we spend a lot of money on Google ads, and I don't want to say the number exactly, but it's a good bit, but I don't feel like it's spending.
Yeah, it's
I feel like I'm investing. Man, I can't wait to invest more money in Google ads because I know I'm going to get a return. And our numbers this year are reflecting that. We are well above our revenue generation goals from Q1, quarter one. Everyone, sorry, don't need to be too official.
Too official.
But when you put money into marketing, if you're doing it correctly, it comes back.
Yeah.
You should never view you're losing it. It's coming back to you. It's like a boomerang.
It's an investment.
It's nice.
If you put $1 in, you should get 3 back. And that's, we tell guys about that all the time.
3 to 5.
We had a guy reach out to us about building a brand and a logo and a website and all that kind of stuff, which is the first step you should do in marketing as far as what you should pay for.
Right. It is the first. Yes. Let's not glance over that. Say that one more time.
It's the first thing you should pay for. It's not the first marketing scheme that you should go after. It's not the first method you should use necessarily, but it is the first thing that you should pay for. Make sure it's done correctly. It's done well, professionally.
Yes. If you're going full time into your business, guys, do not let the lady at church who says she knows how to use her computer to make a logo be the one to make you the logo.
Unless she's really, really good.
I mean, but unless she's a professional.
You need to define what really, really good is to you.
If this is a side hustle, great. Just get a logo. Cool. $50, Fiverr, whatever. $20, whatever.
Yeah.
Lady Sally at church who used to do it back in the day. But if you're really trying to, we asked the gentleman the question, are you trying to scale? Is your goal to have a business where you can pay your bills or have a business that you can scale? He said scale. So
right. And this other guy we were talking to, he was starting, he had been working in his industry for a while. His dad had a company in the industry. He was going to branch out and do his own thing, and he was going to move to another city to do it. So it's not a bad plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the experience, you know the insides of the industry, how to run the business, go do it somewhere else and make your own money. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But he called us, but he wasn't moving for another like 6 or 8 months. And I was like, yeah, I just told him, I was like, hey man, like I would definitely invest in a logo and a website. I don't know if I would do it yet. Like if you have the money now and you don't think you will then yeah, let's go ahead and do it. If you think you're going to have the money then, it's better for just the return on investment. So you don't have all this money being hung up in a website. Let's hold off until you're like 4 months out.
Right.
And so we'll go ahead and build it and then it'll be ready a couple of weeks before you launch and then we'll just turn it on. So you're not waiting to recoup all that money.
Right.
But the other thing too was I was like, he wanted to do like a whole package deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I would love to sell you a pipe dream and say, yeah, pay us X amount of money a month and we'll handle all of these things for you from the get-go. But really the problem is he didn't have any revenue to work with yet.
Right.
And so I'm like, man, I know this is not a good move for you.
Money up.
Yeah, like you need to get there. You need to network a little bit. You need to make some community for yourself. And you just need to tell people what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to drum up a little bit of work doing that first. So let's kind of snowball this thing. Let's do the free stuff first. You don't need to pay somebody to do the free stuff. Yeah. Make your own Instagram accounts, make your own Facebook accounts, go ahead and start posting. As soon as you get some work, let people know you're available to do the work and just hustle it for 6 months. And if you can build a clientele that justifies the money spending and, further marketing, then let's talk about it.
Well, let's like add on to that. Is you said the word hustle. And there's a lot of people I think listening to the show right now or watching on YouTube that don't want to hustle when it comes to marketing. It's like the thing on the back burner. We work with professional athletes, right? Beacon Sports is also a company I own, but it's a client of ours. Brett does a ton of that stuff. We're up to, I think we have 10 or 11 athletes and they're all I think they're all ranked in the top 30 in the world. I believe so. One's top 40. Okay. So they're high level, and the world rankings are 120 deep on the men's side and 70, 60 deep on the women's side. And I'd say several of them do not love social media and they could not have a bigger reason than to do it. So what I'm trying to say is use that example is a lot of people don't want to do marketing.
Right.
It's not the easiest thing to wake up and do. I just had to start setting alarms for myself for doing some stuff. It's not like for me, it's not always the first thing on my brain. So you have to put systems and reminders and alerts in your life to go, before the leads dry up, and give you that alarm yourself.
Right.
Let's be proactive, guys and girls. So whatever you need to do it organically, correctly. If you want to reach out to us, Down to Business Podcast or Pure Marketing Team on social media, Logan was doing this the other day. We'll give you a free audit on your business, meaning we'll look at your social media, we'll look at your current website, or if you don't have a website, we'll come up with a little strategy for a website we think would be great for you. We'll get on the phone with you and have a 15-minute consultation on your current marketing strategy. And then if we're a good fit for you, great. But we'll do it for free. We just want to help you listening see where your business can go. Because going back to the recession stuff, America is built on small business, man.
Yes, it is.
And I was talking about this in my business group that I meet with once a month on Tuesdays. Is we were talking about supply chain and just how hard it is right now, and that was our subject for the month. But it couldn't be more important to make all these that we've seen tons of businesses shutter.
Yeah.
In the last 24 months.
Yeah. I've had a lot of friends just close their doors.
A lot. Do you have one in particular? Do you know? Don't say their name, but what kind of business was it?
There's a local restaurant that my wife and I really liked that closed down because of it.
Really?
Yeah.
In Gilbert?
I mean,
or Lexington.
It was in Lexington, but it's just
I know what I'm talking about. That's a great place. They were open for 30 years or something.
Yeah. And the business restaurant or the restaurant business is super volatile. It's a glass cannon. Yeah. It does well when it does well. If it doesn't do well, it will cost you really fast because you have to have a ton of employees, a lot of overhead.
Yep.
And you're paying high utility bills.
Well, what's scary about that business is the revenue doesn't happen until they come through the door.
Exactly.
So you're just kind of waiting a lot of times.
So my wife worked in a restaurant when we first met, and their nightly goal was to make $10,000 a day.
Okay.
And that was enough to like
their end of the night goal was 10 grand per day.
Right.
Okay,
so
not per
from
shift.
11 a.m. through closing, which is usually like 11 p.m. So in a 12-hour period,
$1.2 million goal.
Right.
1.4, something like that.
So it's like you got to really hustle it. And if the door's not open, especially if you're a sit-down restaurant, you can't do carry out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was detrimental to restaurants and really just the hospitality industry altogether.
People and then the problem with COVID is then you get used to staying at home to eat.
Yeah.
Like, I heard a statistic the other day at our church, I think, that 1 out of 3 people who are watching online because of COVID have stayed online or something like that.
Yeah, they're just not going back.
Yeah, because they're just used to it now.
Yeah. You work from home, you eat at home, you do church at home.
Right. So anyways, guys, just kind of wrapping up this thought process on organic marketing is, one, don't feel the pressure to spend to get results is the way I would verbalize this summary.
Not first.
Yeah, not at first. Create your strategy with as little money as possible, as hard work as possible, and as relational as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company in our area that is a competitor of Trifecta's that they just buy out every billboard.
Right.
And it's funny because they don't actually say, I don't think their numbers on it. And it just kind of says like their business name and that's really it. And I know they're a pretty small business. Like they maybe have 4 employees. And I think to myself like, oh my gosh, how expensive this must be for this guy. The return cannot be there.
I don't see it either.
I don't want to say if they listen because they might, but that seems like a good dude, but I would advise him not to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm listeners, please don't do that. So biggest thing is make sure you're not spending to try to earn income.
Right.
At first, once you hit that 150, 200 number, let's start putting the second strategy in place, start spending some. Google first, professional website if you haven't got one yet.
Yeah.
Like professional. If someone says they're going to do a website for you for $500, it's not a professional website.
Probably not.
You start approaching the $2,000 number.
It's really just
the time. I mean, because they're overhead at that point. Like if they're just at home and they're done, have no overhead or whatever.
Yeah, let me give you an idea of like what the difference there is, because there's a bunch of people who do a website for $300, $400, $500, right?
It's crazy.
Here's the real difference. I could build you a website in about 2.5 hours.
Right.
I can make you an aesthetically decent looking website in about 2.5 hours, and all the links work, et cetera, et cetera. It's got a basic format. But
when you pop the hood,
there's the SEO is not done. Mm-mm. There's no keyword research. Mm-mm. There's no linking and backlinks to other websites that are going to help you out.
There was no page processing, meaning strategy was not really there.
Right. It's probably 2 or 3 pages, and they all basically say the same thing.
Right. It's a landing page.
Yeah, and then what's the flow of the site? Like, can I digest the homepage in less than a minute? Because that's really people's attention span. So, like, I see websites all the time that, like, the homepage is like forever
like a novel.
long. Yeah, and it's like if you're trying to sell someone something, especially a service, because a service is a trust interaction.
Yeah,
it's not just money. Like and we could say a little bit of that for like products and stuff, but a product review would tell me just about everything I need to know about it.
Right.
And so if I decide to buy something on Amazon, I'm not going to just like blame Amazon if it's not a great product, right? I'm not going to not shop on Amazon anymore because I got this one bad product from Amazon. Yeah. If I had 30 bad products from Amazon, maybe not, but that's not how they work.
Right.
Now, I may not buy from that company anymore, that particular manufacturer. And it's kind of the same thing in the services. It's like marketing is about building trust between you and your client all the time. That's great. So if your website doesn't flow well, if it's not telling them what they want to know, if you're not giving them some piece to the problem that they have, then they're going to move on. And then if you're not reviewed well, they're going to move on. Like a lot of what we do is like try to bring your clients back into the fold to leave good reviews on your Facebook and your Google, so that you climb the ranks, so you're a little easier to find. But 2, it's the word of mouth. You've told people that you're trustworthy by showing them the testimonials from other clients that also say that you're trustworthy.
Let me tell the story to wrap it up. I know we're approaching time, right? Yeah. Great example. I told this to the people that sat in here the other day. Listeners, I hope this is very helpful for you. Imagine that you did a sales call with a husband and wife, but you only talked to the husband at 2:00. Let's say you're a tree removal company and you explained everything you're going to do. You did an in-person consultation with the husband at his house, right?
Right.
Made total sense to him. What does he have to do though? His wife's not home yet. She's wherever. So when she comes back home, he now has to relay. He's not a professional, so it's going to be a little bit confusing in his mind. Exactly what you said to him, to his spouse.
To ease the tension.
Because it's a purchase that's not small.
It's a large amount of money.
Yeah, it's a large amount of money. So obviously they want to be on the same page before they make a decision. Let's say you got 2 quotes. One was a guy who's just like Bucky's tree service, and Bucky's been doing trees for 30 years and we do great and here's my card. The other is one with a website, one with social media marketing, and explains their process. Which one do you think they're going to pick? Because the wife's going to go online to get verification.
Right.
They're going to pick not Bucky's, but the other one.
Yeah.
And so I know our time's running out, but guys, your website, all that's super important. But Chris, thank you for giving us this organic, guerrilla marketing conversation. Thank you guys for listening to Down Business Podcast. I'm Xander Kirby, Chris Hollis here. We'll see you next time, and go out there and make it happen this week, guys. Have a great week.